You're not supposed to know this. No one ever tells you this part because if you understood it, you would become unstoppable. And the world doesn't want you unstoppable. They want you distracted. They want you tired, predictable, scrolling, clicking, wasting your potential one meaningless hour at a time. But here's the truth they hide. If you gave your life 6 months of ruthless, obsessive focus, 6 months where you locked in, cut the noise, and refused to live like everyone else, you would emerge unrecognizable. Completely unrecognizable. People would stare at you like they're looking at a stranger, and they would hate it, because your transformation would force them to face the fact that they stayed the same. But right now, you're still trapped, aren't you? You feel it. That quiet pull in your chest every time you waste another day. That voice whispering, "This isn't who you're supposed to be." But you silence it, don't you? You smother it with distractions, with conversations that don't matter, with scrolling through other people's lives instead of building your own. That's how they keep you stuck. Because here's the real game. Your mind is being manipulated every single day, not by some secret government conspiracy, but by the simplest force in the world, your own habits. Every notification you check rewires your brain to crave interruptions. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, you teach yourself weakness. And every time you tell yourself, "Tomorrow I'll start," you are signing a contract with failure. That's why this message matters, because if you don't wake up now, you will live the same year 50 times and call it a life. You don't need more motivation. You need to break the cycle. You need to understand one brutal fact. Success is not about talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's about control. Control of your attention, control of your ease. Motions, control of your time. And most people will never have it. But you can. You can rip back that control starting today. And when you do, people will think you've changed. They'll call you obsessed, arrogant, even cold. Let them. Because when you're done, when the focus hardens you, when your results speak louder than their opinions, you will look back at this moment and know, this was the day you stopped being owned by distraction. This was the day you started becoming dangerous. And I'm going to show you exactly how. But listen carefully. Once you step onto this path, there is no going back. You think you have time, don't you? That's the first lie. You keep telling yourself you'll get serious tomorrow, next week, when things settle down. But here's the truth no one likes to face. Time doesn't settle. It erodes. Every sunrise is another page torn from the book of your life, and you don't get to read it twice. Look at your life right now. How many days have you thrown away to meaningless repetition? Wake up, check the phone, get lost in other people's noise, convince yourself you're too tired, then repeat. You're not living, you're decaying. Do you know why most people never escape this loop? Because comfort is a drug, and you're addicted. It's not just laziness, it's biology. Your brain craves the easiest path because it thinks survival is about conserving energy. But you're not supposed to just survive. You were built to conquer, to build, to expand. And yet, you've been tricked into trading greatness for cheap dopamine hits. That's the real manipulation. Every platform, every advertisement, every little red notification is designed to pull you away from what actually matters. They're not just stealing your time, they're stealing your future. And while you sit there convincing yourself that scrolling for a few minutes doesn't matter, your life is being decided in silence. Because here's a fact you can't ignore. Every second you give to distraction is a second stolen from your future self. Think about that. The stronger version of you, the one you dream about, is being starved to death by the weaker version you keep feeding. But if you can flip that switch, if you can force your mind to do what it hates, everything changes. You want to know what the most dangerous man or woman looks like? It's not the strongest, not the smartest. It's the one who can sit alone, in silence, for hours, building, working, thinking while everyone else is chasing. Stimulation. That kind of focus makes you untouchable. It makes you magnetic, because while the world is drowning in noise, you're crafting power in silence. And here's the dark part. When you start to change, they won't like it. Your old friends will joke that you've changed. Some will get uncomfortable because you're proof that they wasted years. And some will even try to pull you back into old habits. Why? Because your discipline exposes their weakness. But you can't let them drag you back. You have to decide right now whose life you're going to live, theirs or yours. The clock is ticking. Every second you hesitate, the old you tightens its grip. So I'll ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly in your head. If you died 1 year from today, would you be proud of how you spent your last year? If that question burns, good. That's the truth waking you up. Because from this point on, everything changes. There is a part of you no one ever taught you to use, a hidden power buried under years of distraction and doubt, waiting to be activated. You've felt glimpses of it before, those rare moments when you're so locked in that time disappears, when your mind feels sharper, faster, untouchable. That is not random. That is you operating at your true capacity. But here's the brutal truth. Most people will die never accessing it because they've been trained to live like sheep, not predators. Your mind is a weapon, but a weapon you never clean, never sharpen, becomes useless. And that's exactly what's happened to you. Constant stimulation has dulled your edge. Every swipe, every meaningless conversation, every time you give in to temptation, you're dulling the blade. You think discipline is about suffering, but it's not. Discipline is about reclaiming your edge. When you learn to delay gratification, when you learn to sit in discomfort without reaching for an escape, something terrifying happens. You become unstoppable. Do you know why the world loves keeping you distracted? Because a focused mind is dangerous. A man or woman who can focus deeply, who can work in silence, who can suffer boredom without breaking, becomes untouchable in any field. Business, fitness, relationships, influence, the rules are the same. The one who masters focus controls the board. But here's the secret no one says out loud. Focus is not about motivation. Motivation is weak. Focus is manipulation. But this time, you're the one manipulating your own mind. You have to hack your brain the same way the world hacks it against you. Create routines that force you into flow. Lock yourself into systems that remove choice. Because every time you give yourself the option to slack, you will take it. You're not fighting laziness, you're fighting biology. And biology doesn't care about your dreams. So here's how you fight back. You turn your life into a schedule that leaves no room for weakness. Wake up at the same time. Block hours where you work with no distractions. Reward yourself only after execution, not before. You're building a new identity, not the old, weak version of you that reacts to every impulse, but a forged, sharpened version that bends the world to his will. And let me warn you, once you start doing this, people will start to resent you, because when you begin to rise, you become a mirror. Your growth forces people to see their own excuses. Some will quietly drift away. Others will try to sabotage you. That's the price of accessing this hidden power. But trust me, when you cross that line, when you finally unlock it, you will never want to go back. And right now, if you're serious, I want you to prove it. Type this in the comments. The old me is dead, twice. Write it twice. Not for me, for you. Because the moment you declare it, the algorithm of your own mind begins to shift. Say it and mean it. Because from this point forward, you are no longer the same person. Let me tell you something they will never admit to you. The world is designed to keep you weak, not by accident, by design. The systems you live in, the entertainment you consume, the platforms you use, even the conversations you think are harmless, all of it is engineered for one purpose, to keep you distracted, predictable, and easy to control. A focused individual is a threat. A disciplined mind cannot be manipulated, and they can't afford that. You think manipulation is just politics or sales tactics. No, manipulation is deeper. It's in the way everything is structured to reward instant gratification. The food you eat is loaded with chemicals that hijack your brain's reward systems. The apps you use are programmed to drip-feed dopamine at just the right intervals to keep you hooked. Even your social circles, yes, the people closest to you, unknowingly help keep you the same because your growth would force them to confront their own stagnation. You were born into a game you didn't choose, and if you don't wake up, you'll play it until you die, as a pawn. But here's the truth that terrifies them. You can escape. All it takes is one decision they don't want you to make, to cut the strings. That's why this video matters, Because the moment you reclaim control of your time and your mind, you step off the chessboard entirely. But don't think it will be easy. The moment you break free, resistance will come. Friends will call you too serious. People will mock you for skipping parties, for staying in, for spending hours working on things they can't even understand. You'll hear it in their voices. Come on, relax a little. But make no mistake, that's not just them talking. That's the system defending itself. Because every hour you focus is one less hour you're feeding the machine. And here's the part no one says. Focus will feel like war, not against the worlds. But against yourself. Because you've been programmed for years to crave the easy path. You'll sit there, working in silence, and every cell in your body will scream to check your phone, to take a break, to give in. That's the programming trying to pull you back. If you can hold the line through that, you win. That's how you rewire your brain for power. The question is, are you willing to become the villain in other people's stories, to become the hero of your own? Because you can't have both. To rise, you must be willing to be misunderstood, even hated. That's the cost of freedom. That's the cost of becoming unrecognizable. And once you cross that line, there's no going back. Because when you taste real control, when you feel what it's like to bend your life in the direction you choose, you will never again tolerate the weakness that once ruled you. You've been lied to about success. They make it sound like it's about talent, luck, or being special. That's a convenient story because it keeps you from trying. But let me give you the truth. Success is not mysterious. Success is engineered. It's built through repetition, sacrifice, and choices that most people are simply too weak to make. And that's why you have to understand this. Most people will fail, not because they can't win, but because they can't outlast their own comfort. Failure isn't what you think it is. Failure isn't losing. Failure is quitting when it gets boring. That's the real graveyard of dreams. People expect success to feel exciting, inspiring, like a movie montage. But in reality, it's slow. It's repetitive. It's waking up before the sun, saying no to the things that used to control you, doing the same hard thing every day when no one's watching, when no one's clapping. That's why most people never make it. They can't handle the silence. But here's where the power shifts. If you can learn to love that silence, to embrace the grind that no one else respects, you become unstoppable. Because every failure, every mistake, every boring day compounds. While everyone else quits at the first sign of discomfort, you are stacking hours, days, years of invisible progress. Then one day, everything snaps into place. People call it overnight success, but you'll know the truth. It was earned in the shadows when no one believed in you. Here's a fact that should haunt you. Every person you admire, every elite individual you look up to isn't better than you. They just outlasted their weaker self longer than you have so far. They treated failure as data, not defeat. That's the mindset shift you need. Stop fearing failure. Start weaponizing it. Every time something doesn't work, every time you stumble, you're collecting information that weak people will never get because they quit before they learn the lesson. So let me ask you a question, and I want it to burn into your mind. Are you willing to suffer longer than everyone else? Because that's the real test. Not talent, not intelligence, patience, endurance, the ability to keep swinging long after others drop the bat. And let me warn you now, the price will be high. You'll lose people. You'll lose comfort. You might even lose the version of yourself you've been for years. But that's exactly the point. You're supposed to lose him. The weak, distracted version of you has to die for the stronger one to live. Because the truth is, you're not just building a better life, you're building a new identity. And when you finally cross that line, when success starts to reveal itself, you won't just feel different. People will look at you and they won't recognize you anymore. And that's exactly how it should be. Your life is not random. Every pain, every failure, every quiet moment you thought was meaningless, it's all part of a process. But you've been too distracted to see the pattern. Life is not punishing you. It's shaping you. Every hard thing you've gone through, every loss, every disappointment is sharpening you like a blade against stone. But here's the problem. Most people break before they're finished being forged. They give up when it gets too hot, too heavy, too uncomfortable, and that's why they stay dull. If you're serious about changing, you have to stop asking, Why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to make me? That's how warriors are made. That's how leaders are born. Every setback, every delay, every failure is either breaking you down or building you up. And the difference depends on one thing, whether you keep moving. The life journey is supposed to feel lonely. It's supposed to feel heavy. You're not meant to be understood by everyone because you're not building a life like everyone. Look around. Most people are just existing. They're living on autopilot, chasing small pleasures, complaining about things they have the power to change. But you're here, listening to this, because some part of you refuses to accept that kind of life. That part of you, the restless, hungry part, is your future self calling you forward. And you need to understand this. Transformation doesn't feel like transformation. It feels like frustration. It feels like waking up early when no one cares, grinding for years with nothing to show for it yet, losing people who don't fit your new path. But that's not failure. That's the cost of becoming rare. That's the cost of being someone people whisper about, someone who makes others uncomfortable simply by existing. One day this journey will make sense. One day the nights you spent working while everyone slept, the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed when it hurt, the sacrifices no one thanked you for, all of it will become obvious. But you can't wait for that day to believe. You have to believe now, in the dark, when there's no proof. Because this is where the real shift happens. This is where you're forged. So understand this. The life you want is not waiting to be found. It's being built right now, piece by piece, every time you choose discipline over comfort, focus over distraction, power over weakness. Every choice is carving the path whether you realize it or not. And the best part? When you finally arrive, when you've walked through the fire and you're standing in that new life, people won't even recognize you. They'll ask, how did you do it? But you won't need to answer. Because the life you're living will speak louder than words ever could. You've been told to be humble, to fit in, to not take things too seriously. That advice is poison. Because the truth is, power doesn't come from being agreeable. Power comes from control, not just of yourself, but of how others see you. And once you understand this, you stop playing the same game everyone else is trapped in. Here's the reality most people never figure out. The world runs on perception. People don't treat you based on who you are. They treat you based on who they think you are. And you control that perception through one thing: discipline. When you become unshakable, when you stop reacting emotionally, when you move with purpose instead of noise, people feel it. They can't explain it, but they sense it, and they start to treat you differently. Silence is your greatest weapon. Weak people talk too much. They explain, they defend, they try to convince. Strong people move in silence, and their results do the talking. That's why the focused individual is so intimidating. Not because they're loud, but because they're calculating. Every word, every action feels intentional, and that makes people uneasy. They don't know what you're thinking, and that mystery is power. And here's something that will make you dangerous. Learn to stop reacting. Most people are easy to manipulate because they react instantly. Someone insults them, they snap back. Someone doubts them, they rush to prove themselves. But when you stay calm, when you hold that cold, steady focus, no matter what happens, you shift the balance. People can't control what they can't predict. That's when you stop being someone they can push around and start becoming someone they have to respect, even if they won't admit it out loud. This isn't about arrogance. This is about control, about becoming so focused, so internally strong that no one can move you unless you allow it. When you master that, you become untouchable in every area of life, business, relationships, influence. Because people are drawn to stability, and true stability is rare. But understand this, stepping into this level of power will cost you something. You'll be misunderstood. You'll intimidate people without trying. Some will envy you. Some will hate you for no reason other than that your discipline exposes their weakness. That's fine. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Because every insult, every whisper behind your back is proof that you're becoming the kind of person they can't ignore. This is why I keep telling you, focus is not just about success. Focus is about power. It's about becoming the kind of man or woman whose very presence changes the room. Not because you shout, not because you demand attention, but because you've built yourself into someone who doesn't need anyone's approval. That's when you become truly dangerous. And when you reach that point, you won't even need to announce it. The world will feel it. This is it, the point of no return. If you've stayed with me this far, it means some part of you is already changing. The old you is slipping away. But listen carefully, because this is where most people turn back. Transformation is not just building new habits. It's killing the old identity, burning it to the ground so it never has a chance to pull you back. The life you want, the powerful, focused, unstoppable version of you, that version cannot exist in the same body as the weak one. One of them has to die. And this is the moment you decide which one survives. Look at your life right now. Every distraction you allow, every excuse you repeat, every wasted hour, that is the old you fighting to stay alive. It's desperate. It will whisper to you, just one more scroll, just one more day of comfort. You deserve to rest. But understand this, that voice is not you. That's the enemy. That's the programming that's kept you average, broke, anxious, and invisible. You either kill it or it will kill your future. There is no middle ground. From this day forward, you move differently. You wake up earlier. You build when others sleep. You choose discomfort when others choose pleasure. You stay silent when others waste energy talking. And slowly, without even noticing, you will become someone else, someone people don't recognize anymore. One day you'll walk into a room and the same people who doubted you will stare, wondering what changed. They'll think it's money or status or luck, but you'll know the truth. It was focus. It was the nights no one saw. It was the hours you bled for in silence. It was killing the old you before he killed you. And from that moment on, you won't even care if they notice. Because you won't be doing this for them. You'll be doing it because you finally respect yourself. Because you finally kept every promise you broke for years. That's unrecognizable. And you'll feel it. That quiet, unshakable confidence that doesn't need to brag, doesn't need validation, doesn't need applause. So I'm asking you one last time, right now, before you do anything else, declare it. Type it in the comments again, twice, with no hesitation. The old me is dead. The old me is dead. Not for me, for you, because that's the first move in rewriting your own programming. From this day forward, you're not the same. You're not scrolling through life anymore. You're not begging for permission. You're not waiting for motivation. You are focused, ruthless, relentless, unrecognizable. And 1 year from now, you'll look in the mirror, and the person staring back at you will be everything the old you was too afraid to become. Welcome to the other side.